Thank you very much. And I also want to acknowledge that many of us who are assembled here today have lost members of their families. And I just want everybody to know, as we say each year, your Rotary brothers and sisters remind you that you can always lean on us for comfort and companionship. And it's our pleasure to extend that to you. Now, it's always a pleasure to welcome guests. Today, we have several guests who are members of Gene West Lasavio's family, and I'm very, very pleased to introduce Linda West, who is a regional vice president with Primerica from Baton Rouge, Joseph West, who's a partner with Dwayne Morris in Washington, D.C., Mark West, who is a captain with the New Orleans Police Department, and we appreciate your service. Joseph Lasavio, community specialist with the World Economic Forum in New York. Antonio Lasavio, who is a professor at the University of Central Florida in Orlando. And last, Mark Lasavio, who is a marine scientist in Boston. And Gene, that sounds like quite a crew there. We're delighted to have all of you. Some announcements for today. First of all, celebrating birthdays this week. On June 26th, Hal Lamberton. On June 27th, we have Doug McCall, John Conrad, Chet Diamond, and Lynn Sanders. On June 28th, Jeff Underhill, Roland Blahnik. On June 30th, we have Hank Mangio and Doug Myers. So happy birthday to all of those Rotarians. Also, I just received a last-minute announcement from Betty Russo, letting me know that the Rotary Foundation Committee met this morning, and she wanted me to tell everybody that the club is just short of reaching our Polio Plus goal by $1,700, which is not too much. And so we'd like to ask members who have not yet participated if you could consider making a donation to the Rotary Polio Plus program by going on rotary.org/en/donate. And if you could do that before June 30th, we can hopefully make our club's goal. And that, of course, helps us when it comes to determining district grants and Rotary grants in the future. So we're just about there. Hopefully everybody can do that. Next announcement is next meeting's Zoom meeting will feature Sharon Darling, who is the president and founder of the National Center for Families Learning. And the title of her presentation will be Breaking the Cycle of Poverty Through Family Literacy. So that should be a great program. Okay, now one of my favorite parts of our weekly meetings have been the shout-outs that we have done from time to time about members who receive great awards in their careers or notice in the media. And today our shout-outs really focus on a lot of folks who have been participating in the Rotary Club of Louisville and providing wonderful service. And so today I want to recognize the members of our board of directors who have been serving the club for the past 2 years, from 2018 through 2020. And these folks will be stepping off the board as of today. First, Gene West Lasavio, who is the owner and producer of Faces West Productions. And Gene may be leaving the board as a director. However, in just a few minutes, she will be rejoining the board as our new president-elect. And Gene will take over as president of our club a year from now. We're delighted to tap into Gene's wealth of knowledge and leadership skills. And also, I'm pleased to share with each of you that Gene will also be the first African-American to lead the 14th largest Rotary Club in the world. So Gene, congratulations to you. Kevin Lynch, Senior Financial Advisor at Argy Financial Group. Kevin has provided terrific leadership and thoughtful input to the board, and we really appreciate Kevin's contributions. Thank you. Walt Kuno, independent writing and editing professional, and it goes without saying that Walt is a true servant leader. Walt has provided leadership to the board, but more importantly, has led our mentoring program at RCoL and Western high schools. Walt has provided hundreds of hours developing, implementing, managing, participating in the mentoring program. Walt, we appreciate all that you've done. Steve Eggers, principal with K. Norman Berry Associates, is also stepping off of our board, and we appreciate all that Steve has done, particularly in the area of our grant programs. Now, we have two members who have served in special capacities for the 2019-2020 Rotary year. First is Vice President Maria Smith, who is the CEO of Harbor House in Louisville. Maria has served as an active member of the board and more recently has taken an active role in our Community Impact Committee. Maria may be stepping down from the board, but she will continue to play a leadership role in the club. Maria and I will be leading a strategic planning initiative later this year for the club. And Maria, I just want to say thank you for all of your service to the Rotary Club of Louisville. And also Barry Barker, who is our immediate past president and chair of the Rotary Fund Board. And Barry, of course, is the retired executive director of TARC. So what can I say about Barry that has not been said before? Lots. Barry is known as Barry 1 on our board in reference to fellow board member Barry Allen, who is known as Barry 2. Barry has served this club with distinction. He brought to our collective attention the issue of human trafficking and helped us to design a program for our club to bring needed resources to help illuminate this issue in our community. Last year, Barry served as the president of our club. He provided me with wonderful examples of how to lead a large club like this one. Barry has always made himself available to me to bounce off ideas and discuss issues, which was more than helpful. So Barry, I just want to say thank you for 3 years of service to this board. We truly appreciate it. And finally, I'd like to recognize Chris Whalen, secretary of our club, and Tony Coffey, who is the treasurer of our club. Chris and Tony will serve 1 more year, and I appreciate their great work this past year. First of all, Chris has served this club not only as secretary, and I will tell you he writes great meeting summaries, but he's also helped to lead club surveys, and he's been a great sounding board on our board. He's a critical thinker and a great communicator. We haven't seen the last of Chris in a club leadership position. Tony has been a wonderful steward of our club's resources. Tony, I think it's safe to say that this year did not turn out like either of us thought it would. I want the club to know that Tony has had to go back and examine our annual budget several times due to the onset of COVID-19. He's provided sound advice for our board as we move through what has become a challenging year. So Tony, we really appreciate your leadership. So now I'd like to take just a few minutes to reflect on the club's year that's just now ending. And I'd like to begin this moment of reflection by first saying thank you to each of you for entrusting me to serve as the president for this past 12 months. Serving as the president of this club has been one of the honors of my life and my career. And more importantly, the friendships that have developed absolutely mean the world to me. This has been a challenging year, to say the least. None of us saw any of this coming. However, a lot of good things have taken place, and I'd like to recap some of the highlights. First, we continued the club's support for human trafficking by co-sponsoring an important human trafficking conference that was held at the University of Louisville in October. Our club continues to ensure that a spotlight continues to shine on this horrendous problem facing our society. And thanks again to Barry Barker for his leadership on this issue, and also to Lifeline Committee Chair Larry Sloan for his tireless commitment to this issue. In February, we hosted what has become an important annual event in Louisville, the Mayor's State of the City Address, complete with protesters. Little did we know that this would foreshadow problems that would take center stage in our city just months later. Nonetheless, we're always pleased to host Mayor Greg Fisher, and we appreciate his commitment to holding this event before our club. Back in September, we dedicated, after nearly 4 years of effort, the Louisville Not sign under the 9th Street overpass. And I want to give kudos to past President Greg Braun for spearheading this initiative and staying after it. We were joined by the mayor and other community leaders, along with the Rock and Rotary Band, for the dedication of this sign. The Louisville Not is more than a sign. Louisville Not is our club's expression to see the elimination of the 9th Street divide, which exists in our city. You're going to be hearing more about this in the months ahead. Our club hosted 2 great industrial tours for members this past year. The first tour was at UPS Worldport, during which we were able to see firsthand the next day air sort, literally between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. at Louisville International Airport. Not only did we get to walk through the largest package sorting facility in the world, we drove along the flight line and in front of the UPS giant aircraft maintenance hangar. We also took a great tour through the facilities of DDW, the Color House. DDW showed our members how they design and take to market various color additives, which are added to various food products in use around the world. All in all, a fascinating tour. We had hoped to take a tour of the Ford truck plant, but unfortunately the virus got in our way. In January, held the club's first committee fair, an event designed to showcase our many committees and also to allow our members to learn more about our committees and hopefully to join a new committee. As part of our continuous improvement activities, Club Executive Director Alyssa Evans-Torino and President-elect Julie Schmidt and I traveled to Cincinnati and attended that club's weekly meeting and also met with their leadership team. We had scheduled a similar visit to the world's largest Rotary Club in Birmingham, but that was canceled due to the COVID-19 virus. Also this past year, our awards committee recognized several deserving Rotarians, including for the Service Above Self Award for the Rotarians who provided leadership in the area of human trafficking, our Human Trafficking Prevention Initiative, Sharon LaRue, Jerry Martin, Amy Luttrell, Jackie Ford, Jim Smith, Susan Zapata, and also Alice Bridges. Also receiving Service Above Self awards, George Breakmeyer for his tireless leadership on the Salvation Army bell ringing program, Sophia Fisher for her work with the Recenter dinners, Lowell Pratt for hospitality and greeting, and Lowell is there when we're meeting in person. He is there, rain or shine, every single meeting. This year, Barry Barker received our Lifetime Service Award, and just recently, Alice Bridges received our Rotarian of the Year. So congratulations to all those Rotarians, and thanks for your leadership and thanks for your service. Also this year, we launched our new Community Impact Committee. The purpose of this committee is, as its name suggests, identify issues facing the community that we as a club might address and positively impact. We have around 20 leading Rotarians who are members, and we're adding more members as we go. We identified our first issue, graffiti on overhead expressway signs. We developed a strategy and then began engaging on this issue by meeting Kentucky Transportation Secretary Jim Gray, Mayor Fisher, and then discussing some of this with Mayor Fisher's team members. Although we made some progress, we were stopped cold by the virus for now. I do want to thank Rotarian and committee member Greg Cobb for his contributions to this initiative. More recently, motivated by the death of Breonna Taylor and the horrific civil unrest which followed, our committee has agreed that there is a role for our club to play as the community moves forward in addressing the issues that led to this moment in time. Right now, we're developing a thoughtful strategy of the role that we should play. We have a lot to learn, and we'll be engaging with community leaders who are experts who will help us shape some recommendations to share with our club's board of directors in the next few weeks. Finally, a reflection of this year would not be complete without addressing the elephant in the room, the COVID-19 virus. Simply put, the virus changed everything for everybody. First, we acknowledge the pain and the suffering encountered by some of our members who contracted the virus. Fortunately, all of our members survived. And second, we recognize the stunning crash of the economy and the loss of employment by literally millions of our fellow countrymen and women. And for our members who have been impacted economically by the virus, we hope that your business is on the road to recovery. COVID changed everything for the Rotary Club of Louisville. We had to cancel long-standing planned events such as Business Synergy, a new member orientation dinner, and our annual President's Dinner. We had to pivot to a virtual meeting platform. We did this after carefully learning about the technology and attending some other virtual events before we introduced it here. Our staff has handled this flawlessly, although we did learn last week that trying to play a music video is entirely dependent upon a good broadband connection. So I understand the music was slow, was nice on my end, but hopefully you got to hear it. Relative to COVID, our speakers committee never missed a beat. Once we settled on the virtual platform, this committee continued to attract significant speakers, starting with world-renowned Dr. Sag from the University of Alabama at Birmingham to talk about the virus, to last week's speakers duo of Metro Council President David James and Kentucky ACLU Black Lives Matter Representative Keturah Herron. Our podium, virtual as it may be at the moment, continues to be the podium in Louisville when it comes to engaging speakers. Like you, I have missed our in-person meetings. For me personally, I have missed the opportunity to host our Thursday meetings, but that pales in comparison to the suffering of countless others. So in closing, I also want to recognize our esteemed staff. This is one of the largest Rotary clubs in the world, and there is no way we could do what we do without Kinsey and Alyssa. Kinsey does a great job in keeping the books and many of the day-to-day administrative functions. And Kinsey, we thank you. Alyssa has been my partner for the past 12 months. We've had a standing teleconference every Monday to review the club's week and follow and work through any issue that may have surfaced. We've had countless email and telephone exchanges, and Alyssa manages this club in a very professional manner, and I'm absolutely grateful for her leadership. So that's it for the year, and now for the main event and a moment I've been eagerly anticipating. And I'm really pleased to introduce to you our club's next president, Julie Schmidt. And before I turn the podium over to Julie, let me tell you just a little bit about her. Julie serves as the Senior Director of External Affairs for the Kentucky Education Television Network, a position that she's held for nearly 15 years. And as part of her role with KET, Julie also currently serves as the chairperson of the Kentucky Association of Broadcasters. Prior to joining KET, Julie served in the following positions: President of Leadership Kentucky, Corporate Director of Development and Community Relations at Cardinal Hill Rehabilitation Hospital in Lexington, Special Groups Coordinator with Eggleston Children's Hospital in Atlanta, Senior Vice President, Member Services of the Business Council of Georgia, and last but not least, Executive Director and Coordinator for Leadership Kentucky back when that got started. Julie holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from the School of Journalism at the University of Kentucky and also attended the Planned Giving Institute at the College of William and Mary. So Julie, as I say every week, the podium is yours and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Luke. And, it's truly my honor to recognize the leadership and dedication that our outgoing president, Luke Schmidt, has provided our wonderful club this past year. Luke joined the Rotary Club of Louisville in 2010, following his return to Kentucky, having served for 17 years as the first president COO of the National Association of Pet Container Resources, a plastics organization in Charlotte, North Carolina. In 2004, he started his consulting firm, LB Schmidt and Associates, and has served a large array of business clients across the nation and internationally, handling economic development, public affairs, and strategic planning. And here in Louisville, most recently, he was very instrumental in helping lead the expansion of the nonstop airline services into the Muhammad Ali International Airport, which is essential for economic development and growth for our region. In addition to serving as our club president, he's been serving as a director of the Knox Regional Development Alliance, director of 21 Century Parks, and he and his wife have shared their largest fundraising event, not just once, but for several years. And he is the director of Louisville Regional Airlift Development. Luke is probably one of the most organized and thoughtful leaders I've had the privilege to work with. He's a planner, he's inclusive, and he's an excellent communicator. Following any meeting you have with Luke, and it could just be a coffee, you can count on receiving a memo from him outlining the key points that were discussed and action items. And that is so appreciated, Luke. He's a steady, get it done kind of leader, and that's evident in the accomplishments that have been made this past year, even as we have been enduring this unprecedented pandemic. A few highlights of the important work that include, we mentioned some of the things, but I want to just, acknowledge them once again. The building awareness to stop human trafficking in our region, erecting a new landmark in our community, the Louisville Knot, an important symbol of peace and unity on the downtown corridor on Main Street. And Luke provided opportunities for our members to better understand the operations of some of our key industry. They opened their doors privately just for our members to come in and take a tour. And that's a wonderful opportunity for us. His vision of establishing the Community Impact Committee will propel Rotary to make long-term impactful contributions to the region. I look forward to this great work that everyone's engaging. That work's already begun, and it will help address the issues that may stifle some of the progress that's possible to attract city growth for our region. Issues such as graffiti on overhead freeway signs and now displayed on many buildings downtown, providing public services and resources for all parts of town, and assisting Rotary to play a pivotal role in helping our community move forward following social unrest. And Luke, although we're not able to be with you in person, I hope that you can feel the gratitude that we all have, and just, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your dedication and for your strong leadership. We're most appreciative for your service as president of the Rotary Club of Louisville. Thank you. Now I have the opportunity to introduce our board members that are in their final years of service. Larry Sloan, owner of Larry Sloan Sales Company. Julie Skoski, Vice President of the Filson Historical Society. Barry Allen, President and Treasurer of the Gaines Foundation. Barbara Sexton Smith, District 4 Metro Councilwoman. And beginning their 2-year terms of service, our board of directors for 2020-2022 are Ken Salvaggi, Vice President and General Manager of Wave TV. Cheryl Kersey, President, Kersey & Kersey Architects. Todd Warner, owner, MPI Printing. Mike Richardson, principal of Glenview Trust. And finally, Vice President of our club for 2021, John Jennings, account executive, the Underwriters Group. And we are so thrilled to have Jean West Lasavio as our president-elect. I look so forward to working with each of you, and thank you in advance for your service to the club. I also want to share a little bit. I'm truly humbled and honored for this joyous opportunity to serve together with you as we enter the 108th year of our club. A lot has changed about Rotary, and the fact that I'm the third woman to serve as president is evident of that change. I remember the club very well before that was possible, but the founding principles of service above self remain a constant and provide the platform that has made Rotary impactful through the ages. And as members of Rotary, I believe that we are the fortunate ones to have the opportunity to engage in purpose and meaning through Rotary's 6 areas of focus. These past several months, the pandemic has illuminated for me just how connected we are in this world, and how Rotary International, the world's largest humanitarian organization, has the power to transcend peace through its mission and service. And here in Louisville, we too have the ability to help build understanding and peace in our community and state. Each year, the incoming president is asked to provide an overarching theme for their term. Uniting leaders, building community will be our theme for the year. Leadership comes from many areas, and it requires us to widen our circle, intentionally inviting and bringing together leaders of our community, business, nonprofit, educational, community, and government leaders. Broadening diversity as we work to develop relationships built on trust, strengthen our businesses, and make our city better. I'm so pleased that Jay Mallory and Mike Richardson will be chairing our membership efforts. Please get in contact with them or Alyssa to invite your guests. Although we are a little sidelined in how we're meeting, we will be a force for this community. And so I encourage you to reach out and ask people to join with us. I think they'll be inspired by the quality of the speakers that we'll have and the commitment of our members. Like Luke, I'm most appreciative for the Speakers Committee, led by Ashley Brower and her tremendous group that really works hard to bring us a variety of informative speakers. Our weekly programs are outstanding, and I'm excited about the launch of our new series, Race and Justice Matters, a Civil Dialogue, that will examine a path forward for a nation and city seeking racial and social justice. My hope is that we can continue to build on the significant work that's already in place through our various club and service committees. We have an excellent team of committee chairs and vice chairs. It's going to be a wonderful year. People want to connect with a winning and inclusive organization, working on substantive matters, transformative initiatives, initiatives like our Rotary Promise Scholarship Program that just in February granted more than $300,000. I can't tell you how proud I was to be a part of this organization that day when we had so many gathered, and we had representatives from the community college along with other colleges in the area and JCPCS, and it was just wonderful. I just can't even begin to tell you how much it meant to me, and I know to each of you as members of our Rotary Club. You know, we're helping Jefferson County Public School students improve their college readiness and complete degrees, along with invaluable mentorships, opportunities to meet and engage with you. This isn't just scholarship money. This is transformative for students and their families, an avenue to break the chain of poverty. And that's just one example of the many local and international service projects that you are leading and engaged in that build a better Louisville and world. In the coming year, I hope we can expand our educational service to also support early learning, kindergarten readiness. We know that more than half of our children in our community, especially in certain zip codes, that 70% are not ready to begin school. And research indicates children that aren't reading by the third grade, they often struggle throughout their whole school experience. Many drop out and eventually enter the prison system. And I want to share with you a remarkable encounter for me that happened right here in Louisville on Main Street. It was Derby Week 2014, and I got a call that there was going to be this frontline documentary focused on Louisville. Well, you can imagine how terrified you would be being the PBS representative. And you hear there's going to be this focus, and the name of the program is Prison State. Well, it was pretty frightening, and it was airing nationally. The film focused on the most incarcerated area in the nation. And as the producers did more and more research, they decided to drop Baltimore as a co-feature and only focus on Louisville. In the film, they profiled 4 individuals and lifted up the efforts that Kentucky was making to reverse the growing incarceration trend. A couple days later, I was told I had a visitor in the lobby. So I come out and I meet Mr. Keith Huff. He was one of the people highlighted in the documentary. He was now out of prison, having served 27 years in and out of the state pen for multiple low-level offenses. In fact, he told me very proudly, I am $1 million prisoner. And he didn't just come once, he came several times to visit. He actually wanted a copy of the DVD because he hadn't seen it yet and wanted it for his family. And in our conversations, Mr. Huff revealed to me a little bit about his childhood, excuse me, and the fact that he really couldn't read. Yet he was $1 million prisoner. So I just leave you with that, because for me, it has just changed my life, and it keeps me focused on the substantive issues, what we can do to help people and break the chains. And of course, Beecher Terrace is gone. They're rebuilding it. So out of the ashes will come new promise. And I'm just so thrilled to be able to work with you, because I believe that there's no limit of what we can do, what we can accomplish together. We live in a world-class city with world-class advanced manufacturing, world-class logistics, world-class thoroughbred racing, world-class bourbon and spirits industry, world-class arts and food scene, and so much more. And we have one of the very best Rotary clubs in the world. So I just am so excited and honored again to work with you in this coming year to lift up all the promise and continue the great work of our Rotary Club. And as I close, I do want to say a farewell to a Rotarian who's meant a lot to me, and I know to you. Gail Becker has been a member of our club since 1991, and Gail helped build the Kentucky Science Center. In fact, it's one of our most beloved institutions down on Main Street. She's also done a lot of other work in the community, and she will be greatly missed. She is relocating to New Jersey to be closer to her family. So we just wish her the very, very best. And as Luke had said, next week we are super excited to have the remarkable Sharon Darling, founder of National Center for Families Learning, who will be speaking with us, and again, breaking the cycle of poverty through family literacy. So I hope you can join, and if you're not able to make the meeting, please do take the time to review it because it'll be on our website. I think you will be inspired by Sharon. So thank you. Melissa, we didn't get past this part. Should we call the meeting to, does anybody else have anything they'd like to say before we end the meeting?
As the new president, you're the one that gets to adjourn it.
Well, again, thank you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and look forward to seeing you next week. We're adjourned.
Oh, you have to end it, your main host.
I don't know how to.
Stop share. And end.